welcome once again. We have with us today Mr. Ron Iacobucci. Welcome to the show, Faces of South Asia.
Thank you.
My co-host Soph.
Hello.
And Mr. Ron Iacobucci is here to explain me and my co-host Soph all about the Career Center unemployment. As you know, that I am representing global youth unemployment crisis. So, Mr. Ron, would you please shed some light? We're absolutely laymen. We have no idea of the Career Center,
Sure.
what it does, how does it serve the community.
It'd be my pleasure to talk about the Career Center, and thank you to both of you for what you do with your shows and the information you're able to share with people. And we welcome this opportunity to talk about the Career Centers. They're publicly funded. All the services and programs that are available at the Career Center are available at no cost. And they're available both to job seekers, people that are looking for work, whether they're in work or they're unemployed, and also to employers who are obviously looking to find people to fill positions. So we're there to serve both, the job seeker as well as the employer. Our Career Center, you mentioned the Career Center, we have one located right here in Quincy. We've talked about it before on cable, and we're open and welcome to anyone who wants to come in. We encourage people to do that. We're there Monday through Friday, and we open usually at 8:30, except on Tuesdays when we have staff meetings from 8:30 to 9:30, and we close at 4:30. So Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, except on Tuesdays. And to get involved with the Career Centers, all you have to do is fill out a one-page application. It's very simple. We just collect a little information so we can plug you into our system. And we ask you to attend an orientation session. It's a 1-hour session that's held at the Career Centers. And basically, it's an opportunity to learn all about the services and programs that we offer.
Right.
And then people can come back and use those services, as I said, at no cost. And there are a variety of things that we can do at the Career Centers. They've been functioning for a number of years. There's been a number of, the whole workforce development has evolved over a period of time back to the 30s and 40s in the United States. And actually, we're called an American Career Center because they're located all over the country. And in Massachusetts, we're known as one-stop centers. It's an opportunity where people can go in one place and get everything they need from A to Z to help them find work. And basically the way they're organized is we have a service delivery area, and our service delivery area actually takes in 22 communities in Massachusetts. We go from Quincy all the way down to Plymouth. And it's a very interesting way it's organized. It's mandated by the United States Congress, and it's funded through monies that flow from the Department of Labor into the Commonwealth and into the city, because the city of Quincy is actually, in our service delivery area, controls the operation. The mayor of Quincy is the CEO of that organization, and it's actually a combination of both state workers as well as city workers that make the Career Centers run. And we have people in the Career Centers that are, they're dedicated to working with the job seekers. And myself personally, I'm a business service representative, so I work with the employers and try to maximize the services and programs to them. You saw on your screen all the Career Centers around the Commonwealth. There are about 32 of them that exist around the Commonwealth. They're all very similar, and basically are there to provide the services and programs to the job seekers and to the employers, as I mentioned. And you can see on the screen there, Quincy and Plymouth are the two that, as I mentioned before, we organize and we operate. So Plymouth is our sister Career Center, and we sort of call them the South Shore Career Centers because we run the South Shore. So now, why would you want to go to a Career Center? Okay, so we recognize there are two critical areas right now, and one of them you touched upon, which is the youth. The unemployment rate with young people as well as mature workers. Right. We would call a mature worker anybody over 45. I don't know if that involves you guys. No, probably not. But anybody over that age, especially we're finding long-term unemployed now, mature workers. Those are the populations that are the most critical in terms of trying to serve, and unfortunately, at the present time, are the highest number of unemployed. People talk about the unemployment rate, Right now, it's at 6% plus in Massachusetts and around the country, but it really is a misleading indicator because it doesn't cover the people that have fallen off of the unemployment rolls. So when you add that factor in, you have a much higher percentage of people because they've actually stopped collecting unemployment, and some of them have unfortunately stopped looking for work. So that's a high percentage. And when you apply that to the youth and to the mature workers, it's an even higher percentage. We try to target programs to both those groups. And most recently, we had a job fair at our career center that targeted youth specifically. It was organized by the Workforce Investment Board. That's an organization that oversees the operation of the career centers. They set the policy and provide the oversight. So there's sort of a governing structure to all of this. It's set up by the Workforce Investment Act. And basically, the folks that are on that board are appointed by the mayor and also reflect certain categories. We have education represented, labor represented, different agencies represented. And so they all get together and they pretty much, as I said, set the policy for the operation of these career centers that function. And you know, it's like I said, the job fair that we had, which was sponsored by the Workforce Investment Board and operated by the career centers, we had over 10 employers there. They were all hiring young kids, and we had over 100 kids, mostly from North Quincy and Quincy High School attending. And so we were able to make those connections and get people jobs. This particular summer, as it's coming up, we're going to have about 75, I believe, positions that we're able to fill with young kids, and but basically kids that have issues and barriers. Yes. So there's a program that helps those because, you know, it's tough enough for a kid that really, you know, has a great resume and has a great, you know, family and great experience and all that to find a job. And you can imagine kids that have barriers and issues, it's even more difficult for them to find a job. So we try to designate some positions for those kids, and we have, I believe, in our area about 75 that we're going to be filling this particular summer. So it'll be an opportunity for kids that have some disadvantages and barriers to go and find work. And it's so important because, unfortunately, given the economy that we have today, you know, the older worker, the mature worker, is because they are long-term unemployed, their benefits are running out. We find that they're coming back now and taking some of the jobs that the kids used to get. Okay, and it's a difficult situation because these kids are missing an opportunity to learn very important work skills, and you know, the whole path that you know, sort of they need to be presented with at a young age, so they can learn what it is to work, to get up on time, all those things. They're missing those opportunities because a lot of the more mature workers are coming back now and filling some of those positions. So it really is important, and we plan to do more as each year goes by to try to help folks in that particular category. And I know you obviously have a concern and an interest in it too, because it's something probably worldwide that's a major issue. You know, as I said, unemployment, the number might be misleading because the economy still really hasn't come back. And it's been a very difficult, you know, 4 or 5 years now since we've had the Great Recession, and the Great Recession has actually ended a few years ago. It's been a very slow, sluggish progress to come back on track, and we're feeling it. Yes. You know, the Congress extended benefits, but now that money is not there, and people are really hurting. So we encourage folks to come into the Career Center and to work with the staff. And you know, it's an opportunity. I mean, if you go on our website, you'll see some of the things that the job seeker services involve, which is the assistance, the planning, there's computer training, there's all kinds of access to various technologies and equipment, and more important, the workshops and the job fairs that we run. People have access to those so they can connect with employers and hopefully find employment. We're there to help you from A to Z. So if you need help building your resume, or you need help with interviewing skills, or you need help with anything that involves your job search, that's what the Career Center is there to help you with. There are some opportunities where people could actually receive training dollars. You'd have to meet certain criteria and certain qualifications to do that. One of the other functions that we have at the Career Center, which seems to be absorbing a lot of our time lately, is the whole unemployment insurance. And recently in the Commonwealth, there was a transition from the system that we used to have to a new online computerized system. And it caused a major disruption in the way people file and process. So we had to dedicate a lot of resources to helping people. We're not really the unemployment office, we're the Career Center, but people look at us as the unemployment office. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to capture a lot of folks as they come in the doors to plug into our system. And so people that are, and there's an advantage to doing that, because the longer you're unemployed, the less desirable you're going to be to an employer, unfortunately. And we find that's a big problem also. So we encourage people to get involved with activities, even if they're volunteering, or we talked about internships.
Yes.
Those are so vital because it's an opportunity for people to get connected, and hopefully as a result of that there are jobs that might grow out of that. So it's an opportunity. So we encourage people to come in and not just to help navigate their unemployment problems, but also to try to work with the career services and get back to work as soon as possible, because like I said, the longer you're unemployed, the more difficult it's going to be for people. And there are actually some employers that don't want to look at anybody that's been long-term unemployed. So it's really important to get in and to not just look at us as an unemployment center, which we really aren't, but to also take advantage of the programs. Correct, exactly.
Excellent.
So,
I have a question.
does that give
for
you a pretty good overview?
Yeah. Wonderful
Okay.
overview. Really a wonderful
Okay.
overview. What I was thinking is most of the youngsters, they think that they are cashiers or just common jobs. That doesn't give them the creativity and the increase that, So what they try to do is, as soon as they finish their jobs, because they need that basic pay, they try and get together with friends. That's where the alcohol or the drug abuse and all this comes in. What my idea, and you will guide me through this, was if you get them into creative jobs, like intern, but not interns like full pay, but maybe just the basic pay, but they learn creative jobs from the top employers already present in the, not only I'm stating about Quincy, but this is all over U.S. because we have these resources, you said, all over U.S. So if the businesses came together with the Career Center, like you said, and we brought the youth to do the basic pay, but they are exposed to the creativity, what is your, what do you think would be the result, or is it an option?
No, I mean, internships are important. And I remember when I was growing up, I was fortunate to have two very important internships that helped me. One was at the State House in the state senator's office, and where I had an opportunity to file legislation and be part of that process and learn that from the very beginning. And it kind of got me interested in government and politics. Another internship I had was down in Washington with a congressman, and again, learning about government and politics and so forth. If I didn't have those opportunities, it'd be a whole different world. So, yeah, I mean, even my own son, he's 15 and he's a high school student. This summer, we're trying to get him some exposure to different opportunities like that, where he can not just do that basic job, which he's looking for, by the way, whether it's bagging groceries or dishing out ice cream or something, but to really get into something that could be creative and productive. Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of it has to deal with working with various employers, and there are some services and programs that we provide employers that encourage opportunities for people. Take people that are unemployed and get tax credits for it. Take people that are unemployed and get training dollars for it. So you can, it'll help the company as well as help those people that are looking for work. and give them the added skills and experience that they need. That applies to all ages, but definitely with the young kids, I mean, they need those kinds of opportunities. So, I mean, we would encourage anything along those lines, working in collaboration with the employers to provide opportunities like that.
You said, I'm sorry, you said that
Sure.
you had this career for the youngsters lost a couple of weeks ago or something.
Yes, yeah, it was a job fair. We held it at the, yeah.
So how many people did you get employed? Or
I don't have an
was it
exact number of people that were placed, but I know that the feedback I received from the employers was excellent, and I know that there were a lot of kids that they saw that they want to probably hire and will be getting interviews, so
Absolutely.
which is good. But we don't have an exact number of how many
Right.
people were actually received jobs.
Right.
But there were about a dozen companies that participated, and there were about 100 kids that actually showed up, and which is good. And the more that we could be doing those kinds of things.
I was just, that's what I'm interested in, if you do more of the job fairs on both sides, for the ones who are looking for jobs as
Sure.
well as the youngsters.
Yep.
And maybe who do we have to speak to, or who do we have to connect with for the local businesses to, because you're doing a fabulous job, really, because just to have this gateway there
Right.
that you go in and is wonderful.
Yep.
But probably we already have the resources, we have the staff, we have all that you mentioned. Now, how do we
You
take
would connect
them?
with me.
Yes.
Because I'm the liaison to the business
Yes,
community.
so you're the main person, to be honest
I'm
with
in
you.
trouble now.
No, you're not. You're a blessing.
okay,
Now, the
good.
thing is, and you're doing fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, just like you, I'm sure there are many in all of these
Yeah,
careers.
we have actually an organization statewide. It's called Merlot, and it's a opportunity for all the business service representatives that work in the various career centers to get together and share information and ideas. And so there's usually one or two business service representatives in each of the career centers. And our focus is to reach out. Our customers are the employers.
Yes.
So we're there to provide services and programs to them. We take their job orders if they're looking for someone to hire, and we're able to put it through our database and give it exposure. We also share that with the job specialists that work at the Career Center, as they might be working with particular job seekers that might have the skills and experience that these people are looking for, so they're trying to make those connections. We also provide a lot of information to employers about the various programs and opportunities there are, whether it's the tax credits or it's the workforce training fund.
Right.
There are a lot of incentives for employers, and so we try to share that information with them also. A lot of people don't know we exist.
Exactly. That's so true.
And the focus is more on providing services to job seekers.
Yes.
It's only recently that we've started to focus on providing services and programs to the businesses. It's not something that the government actually measures, but it's something that under the new system we have, the focus is now more on, we need to, we're serving not just the job seekers, but we're serving the employers. And by serving the employers, you're bringing the employers into the career center to help the job seekers.
Absolutely.
So,
What
it's
a great
important
liaison.
it's important to make those connections. We try to do the best we can to I know I'm active in the Quincy Chamber as well as the South Shore Chamber, so we try to connect at some level and give exposure as best we can about what we do. And obviously we do these job fairs on a regular basis. We also have an opportunity for businesses to come in and do recruitments.
Yes.
We have a new pizza shop that's opening in Quincy in another month. I'll give it a plug, Papa John's. They're coming in. And I recently talked to the owner and the new general manager, and they're going to be hiring 40 people.
Excellent.
It's going to be on Southern Artery in Quincy. They're going to do all their recruitment through us. So we'll be posting the jobs. We'll be trying to identify from the database that we have, a lot of young kids too,
Yes.
to find and fill these positions. So that's the kind of thing that we do on a regular basis. We're trying to reach out to employers and connect the job seekers. So
I have a proposition. So when, like you said, Papa John, and he's going to have 40, and you're going to
Yeah.
make sure the 40 kids. But let's say there are 20 more kids who wants to do internship at Papa John's, other than the 40 kids. These may be kids he doesn't pay for. It's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
free. But they come and they learn how to do pizza, so
Sure.
that one day the creativity of maybe someone wants to be an entrepreneur
Yep.
and he wants to go ahead and make. This is the kind, we want to make Quincy as our first base towards this global issue, because it is a global issue. But if we can succeed here, then we probably would like to take it to the Chamber of Commerce in Massachusetts.
Sure.
And
You're
go
gonna create
ahead.
a model, is
We
what
want to
you're
create a model,
Yeah.
and you are the first person that I'm blessed to have on my show, who is the perfect liaison between the employer.
Good. We'll have to
and,
continue the conversation after the show. then.
Absolutely, we have to.
So-
We have some big businesses right
Sure.
here in Quincy.
Oh, absolutely.
He-
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Papa John's a big business, but you know we
it's
have.
it's a small. I mean, you talk about State Street. You
Yes.
talk about Stop and Shop.
Yes.
You talk about
Correct.
Granite Telecommunications.
Correct.
They're one company that we're working with in Quincy. They just recently expanded their operation. They're going to be hiring almost 800 new people.
You see,
So, and they're looking for, let's put it this way, young, energetic people.
Of course.
And I think there's opportunities there for
so
kids.
this is
So-
what I want to make a model.
Sure.
I mean, if we can speak about it and see how these big businesses can help not only unemployment but help
Yeah.
those children like your son.
Yeah.
My daughter was in Washington. She learned a lot from the
Sure.
Hill. She spent 6 months in France, and so the exposure they have is unbelievable.
It's important.
We
Yeah.
want to cater that exposure to
Yeah.
all of the youth, like
Yeah.
15-year onwards.
Yep.
And hopefully we will do this right here, make a model in Quincy.
Sure.
So because we are on the World Wide Web,
Mm-hmm.
and if this can be done here, it can be done in all of United States.
Yeah.
At the moment, I would just concentrate on USA.
Okay. Okay. Got to start someplace.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely. So, and anything else, Sophie, you wanted to?
No, it's I think it's very important for the youth to get involved and for the employees to get involved. And you were talking about tax credit. Like when people actually hire the youth, they get a tax credit from the government.
Well,
How does that work out?
Yeah, it's
To
more.
encourage them. Like,
Yeah,
to
I
get
don't know
more
if
internships.
it's more targeted to youth. It's more targeted to those that are unemployed.
Okay.
Yes.
But I mean, if someone that's a young kid is unemployed, then
Yes.
you know, I suppose I'd have to look at the guidelines again. But there are opportunities like that that provide incentives to employers to hire certain groups. And as I mentioned earlier, there are some programs that we have that try to target disadvantaged youth and youth that have some barriers to employment. So
It's very
to provide
important.
opportunities. I mean, a lot of it is just really education,
Yes.
education.
Absolutely.
So that's important. That's a critical part of it too. And there's opportunities to plug into that through the Career Center also.
Basically, the older generation already has the skills. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I respect what you're doing for them, and I hope you keep doing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But they already have the skills. Maybe they can put their minds together and
Yep.
get something going.
Yep.
The younger doesn't have so. They just are out of college
Right.
and schools,
Yeah.
and they don't know what to do. So we need to provide them the
Yep.
exposure.
Especially where they're missing those opportunities because
Yes,
some of
right.
the older workers are taking the jobs.
Jobs.
So sad.
There's something on, that's part of that governing structure.
Yes.
I talked about the board. There's also a youth council.
Yes.
You folks might maybe be interested in participating in that.
Love to.
Because that's where a group of people get together and set policy for
Yes.
the youth.
I would love to, because this is how I look at it, that yes, the younger folks do have to take care of their parents or their
Yeah.
families, and my heart goes out to them. Definitely do whatever is required.
Yeah.
But I also am concerned with the younger generation of just losing themselves. A lot of them, still have the family values. They'll be fine maybe, but what happens to the ones who are under stress? Will drugs take a hold of them? Will they lose, so we are going to lose a huge future. So I personally don't want to make that happen.
Right.
And I really want to work with the Career Center,
Sure, yeah.
with the big businesses. I'm
Yep.
not talking about, because the children know how to become a cashier. The children know how to do these little jobs.
Yep.
But something that will give them the creativity so they can make that productive.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe become entrepreneurs, maybe something else. We don't know.
Sure.
So,
The school system in Quincy also has a program that very much connects with businesses, and maybe you might want to take a look at that program also and see how you could expand it to do what you're talking about. But I know there's a good base there already where they're partnering with a lot of the bigger employers especially, and trying to give kids sort of a path forward,
That's all they need.
and an opportunity, through work.
But I find that a lot of college kids who come out of college, they can't find jobs and they're really lost. Like,
Yeah,
I have
I
a
know.
child who's that way.
Yeah.
She went to BU and she can't get a job. Like, she says, Mom, you don't understand. I can't. There's like jobs are very hard to get to.
Yeah.
So what do you tell a child like that? And she worked part-time. I mean, while she was in school, she was still working.
Yeah. I think it's important, really, it's bigger than us right now in terms of this whole thing.
Right.
But clearly there's a disconnect, and I know that there are people within the workforce development system that are trying to make those connections, so you could be training people and educating people for things, and there's a job at the other end. That's really important, because people are getting an education, but there's no job.
Exactly.
So we've got to be kind of ahead in terms of the planning and connecting with businesses, find out what the next big thing is, where the jobs are going to be, and making sure that we're educating people and training people
in
for
the
those
right
jobs.
direction.
I just recently attended an advanced manufacturing summit in Massachusetts. It was the second annual one. I talked to many employers. You wouldn't believe how many people are hiring, and they cannot find people to fill those jobs.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we're working, again, through a collaborative effort with the board and with the Career Center to try to get something going on a very, on the basic level for advanced manufacturing. Yeah, and I noticed, too, the recent initiative that the mayor had with the whole effort to try to get into the technology, and this partnership now with on the Red Line. They're talking about going from Somerville down to Braintree, and just the whole opportunity that could be with jobs and promoting that. It's kind of exciting. But again, we're not. The jobs are there. We just don't have the skills, the people with the skills.
So why don't they?
Well, there's where it comes with the connection, and trying to anticipate what the needs are, and trying to train a workforce that's going to be able to fill those needs. We're not making those connections. And that's what happens. Is it your daughter that went to BU that doesn't have a job now?
Yeah, he just
and you
doesn't
probably
have
paid
a
a lot
job.
of money for that education too,
Which
is another whole issue.
But
I'm not going to get into that.
And this is what he is doing, and that would be a role model, and that'll be a
Well, don't put it all on me now. I don't do all of that, but obviously I think there's a lot of interest in the area of workforce development from a lot of people that are involved and are working hard to try to make those connections now, because there's a big disconnect there.
Yes, there is.
And that has to get fixed.
I mean, I think they feel so, uncharted. Like, they don't know what to do with themselves. They have no idea how to progress. They've got a degree, and she doesn't know where to go.
Yep.
But that's exactly what Mr. Iacobucci said, that the older generation knows the skills. The younger generation don't have the exposure. They don't have the connection.
True.
They don't have the guidance. That's what the community, they're trying to do. But it's the first time, I really, really am interested in the youth.
Some of the folks, though, that just to talk about the mature workers, some of those folks have had a job for 20, 25 years. And the problem they're facing now is that they're used to doing the same thing for 20, 25 years, and now they're coming out of a situation where they don't have a job. And and the technology is what's killing them.
Yes.
So you might talk about how they might have skills and experience, but there's a need to really work with that population also to retrain them, because they need to get back into the workforce, and there's things that they're lacking. We see a lot of people coming in that don't even know how to turn a computer on, or because they haven't
They've never had to do it.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a need.
There's a need, and hopefully we can find a way to help them out.
But thank you for
you're
coming
welcome.
in.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. You shed a lot of light.
Thank you.
And I hope it was informative to you. Hope to follow up soon with Mr. Ron Iacobucci and the Community Career Center. Thank you once again. It's Esha.
And I'm So. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.